It was in the year 1895. We were residing close to a library to make some researches in early English charters. One evening we received a visit from a person whom we know, Hilton Soames. He was a tall man of a nervous, excitable temperament. It was clear that he was extremely agitated over something.
"Mr. Holmes, can you spare me a few hours of your valuable time? We have had a very painful incident at the college."
"Oh, really?"
"I must explain to you, Mr. Holmes. Tomorrow is the first day of the examination for scholarship. Today about 3 o'clock the proofs of this paper arrived from the printers. I had to read them carefully as the text must be absolutely correct. At 4:30, however, I left to take tea in a friend's room. My task was not yet complete, so I left the proofs upon my desk. I was absent for more than an hour. When I returned, I was amazed to see a key hanging in the door. This duplicate key belonged to my servant Bannister. He is an honest man. I thought he might have entered my room to ask for tea. Then he might have carelessly left the key in the door."
"Please continue."
"The moment I looked at my table I was aware that someone had reached my papers. The proof were in 3 long slips. I had kept them together. Now I found that one of them was lying on the floor. One was on the side table near the window, and the third was where I had left it."
"Very interesting."
"A large sum of scholarship money is at stake. A wrong man might gain the advantage over other fellows. When I talked to Bannister about this, he nearly fainted and collapsed in a chair. To help me, Mr. Holmes. Either I must find the culprit or the examination must be postponed."
"I shall be happy to help you. Did anyone visit you in your room when you were reading the papers?"
"Yes, Steve, a student, who lives on the same floor. He came to ask me something about the examination."
"Nothing else in your room?"
"No."
"Then it appears that Steve alone could know about the papers."
"So it seems to me."
"Let's go to your house to examine it." The tutor's room was on the ground floor. Above that lived 3 students, Steve, Gilchrist and Ralph, one on each story. Holmes examined the room and looked at the open window near the table. He thought for a while and then looked at the paper. "Let me see the 3 papers. There are no fingerprints. Ah, there are some pencil shreds. Now let's see the table. There are some grains of sawdust on it. Mr. Soames, now, will you please call Bannister in?" Bannister, the old servant, comes in. "I understand that you left your key in the door."
"Yes, sir, I have done this mistake other times also."
"When did you enter the room?"
"It was about 4:30. That is Mr. Soames' tea time."
"Did you look at the papers on the table?"
"No, sir, certainly not. I had the tea tray in my hands, so I thought I would take the key later on. Then I forgot."
"That means anyone could go inside the room and could get out of it."
"Yes, sir."
"When Mr. Soames told you about the papers, were you very much disturbed?"
"Yes, Sid, I nearly fainted."
"Where were you standing when you began to feel bad?"
"Here, near the door."
"But you sat down in the chair near the window. Why didn't you sit in the chair near the door?"
"Just a chance."
"Were you here when your master left to meet me?"
"Only for a minute."
"Thank you. That will do. You may go. Mr. Soames, have you mentioned about this to the 3 students living above?"
"No, sir, not a word."
"I should like to have a word with them." "Is it possible?" We went up, knocked at Steve's room. He opened the door and Holmes borrowed a pencil from him for making some notes. The same thing happened in Ralph's and Gilchrist's rooms. "And now, Mr. Soames, I wish you good night. I will drop in early morning tomorrow with a definite answer." Early morning Holmes came to my room.
"Have you anything positive to tell to Mr. Soames?"
"Yes, my dear Soames. I have solved the mystery. Mr. Soames, will you please call Bannister?" Bannister entered and Holmes asked him to close the door. "Now, Bannister, will you please tell us the truth about yesterday's incident?"
"I have told everything, sir."
"When you sat down in the chair near the window, were you trying to hide something?"
"No, sir."
"Didn't you let the man who was hiding in the inside room go out?"
"There was no man, sir."
"Mr. Soames, kindly call Gilchrist." Gilchrist was called and he glanced at each of us. Now, Mr. Gilchrist, we want to know, why did you commit such an action?
No, Mr. Gilchrist, I never said a word.
No, but you have now. I tell you the whole story. Mr. Soames' room's window was open. I tried to measure how tall a man would be to see the papers through the window while he passed. Only a 6-foot-tall man can do it. I found out that Gilchrist was 6 feet tall and also a long jumper. He was practicing the jump. He came back carrying his jumping shoes which had sharp spikes. As he passed your window, he saw the proofs on your table. He entered through the open door and put his shoes on the table and hence the scratches on the table. He put his gloves on the chair near the window and took the proof papers to copy. He wrote very fast and broken his pencil and had to sharpen it again. And this pencil shreds helped me find out the culprit. Looking at the shreds, I could make out that the pencil was not of an ordinary size. Its outer color was dark blue and it had a soft lead. I found the same pencil in Gilchrist's room yesterday. When Mr. Soames came back, Gilchrist took his shoes and hid in the inside room but forgot his gloves. Bannister pretended to print to give Gilchrist a chance to escape. He sat down at the corner chair to hide Gilchrist's gloves. Mr. Bannister, why did you help Gilchrist?
I was butler at their house before working here. When I saw the gloves, I recognized these as Gilchrist and wanted to say him.
Is that right, Gilchrist?
Yes, sir. I have a letter with me. In this, I have written that I would not take the examination. I am pleased to hear that.
But why did you change your mind?
There is the man who set me on the red path.
Gilchrist pointed to Bannister.
He spoke to me as a father and made me understand what I did was wrong. So I changed my mind and decided not to take the paper.
You are a young man with a bright future. For once you have fallen low. Let us see in the future how high you can rise. So this way the case was solved and Mr. Soames thanked Holmes for his help.